You know, a lot of people that don't like me, they'll use the argument that my family doesn't talk to me either as a way for them to be right, which of course my theory explains. This is going to be used more and more. I mean, I could take doctors to court, let's say, and I provide all of the evidence of their failures, and they'll still, let's say, pull that card. Something's wrong with you because, you're disconnected with your family. Yeah, so there is sometimes a hope and some families succeed, and sometimes it's a lot more memetics than it is genetics because HSD has canceled a big part of that genetics part to be altruistic with our relatives. HSD has made it that sometimes it's not even more uh, uh, compassionate for loved ones than it would be for strangers that we'd identify with. Uh, in justifying our own identities. So yeah, so the reason my relatives and I don't communicate, and if we do, it's really not at human levels, and it's the same as all of you, right? The 99.93% of you. It's that interacting with me brings reality. Reality, which is more and more something people are allergic to. And it also lifts up a mirror because I can communicate exactly what's happening in our interactions. What, let's say, your choices are, or if you're feeling this or thinking this, and you know how to reframe maybe those things when they become counterproductive for you and me and culture in general. So it's the same thing. So it just proves my theory when you want to say this, right? And the common denominator is that I'm really a nice, kind, funny person. And a lot of people will testify to this. I'm a genuine helper. I'm a multi-skilled kind of community values type advocate, and a lot of people will attest to this, and they have in the past, and now even my ability to be this kind of person without somehow having a conflict come up because of reality and because of this mirror lifting up in front of you is getting worse. It's one of the ways that HSD is measurable other than what I'm picking out outside of my life in the data that is available to me. So that's a common denominator. And it's sad because my family is the same. Reality is no, don't talk about that right now. And yeah, so lifting the mirror. Sometimes you would think you'd have a trust, let's say, with family members or longtime friends or people that are already public figures, to say, hey, let's have a conversation where we record it for transparency and therefore for reconnecting with reality, because both of us could be a little bit wrong or a little bit right in something in a different way than we perceive it, and this recording will help. It's a learning tool. But nobody accepts this. I do. I promote it, and yet it's refused more and more. So this is not an exception with relatives or the common you. And it's sad, and maybe even one of the reasons life skills training, Saskatchewan New Start model, is ignored or not given as much, is that it has this component of recording certain skill sets being practiced, and then in this supportive group watching it together. So this is sad. I'm a social creature. I miss, and I also feel good giving and being a good community member. But when community is close to me and then it's blamed on me, as if the entire responsibility of community. I don't know if people think if he's so smart, or he is so smart unconsciously, they think, so the entire responsibility of creating a healthy family or a healthy community rests on me. And because I'm not doing it the way they want, which of course breaks communities, it must be with me that something is wrong. So this is really weird thinking, and it's easily solved if you wanted to solve it, and it relates to just connecting to reality. Like recordings are nice, And I've offered many people, even though they didn't necessarily deserve this in the way they first interacted with me, but I say, let's meet first. Like, let's say on a Zoom, we don't record, and we can even say this. We're both agreeing not to record this. That means I don't have a secondary device recording it, because that makes me a liar, which I am not. So then we'll come up with the parameters to make it win-win. But if suddenly, disrespect comes in or nonsense comes in, because nonsense is also something that I take personally, even though it might not be directed at me, right? If people say things that are so disconnected from reality that I know it harms them and the kids I know they have and the society that we all belong to, then I have to call them on that. And once they don't participate in this reasoning type argument and become, let's say, defensive or disrespectful, then they're the ones getting out of this win-win scenario that we have agreed to. Now, in this prior recording where I say, hey, do we both agree not to record this? But maybe what we'll do is we'll just still write an email to each other where we say, this is what we agreed on in this. And then that email should be allowed to be made public after it's the other side that breaks it, because reality got too hard. And their responses, right, their people skills, their lack of good life skills made it that it became more and more disrespectful and confrontational, which I can handle, but that doesn't mean I am also one that uses those tools when I have other tools, right? I have other tools then to disrespect somebody in a disagreement. And that makes it even worse. It escalates, because then they see themselves in the mirror even more, and all the work they have to do and all the reality that hits them in the face. This is easily explained, easily measured. I've done it many times in the past. I've posted a lot of data about this. So that's the common denominator. And again, family, for me, the concept of family doesn't need to have a genetic link. I mean, you could even have it with other animals, a sense of family and a sense of community. And again, it relates to healthy behaviors in groups and community values, which is some of the things I teach life skills lessons about.